While many modern Americans throw away nearly half their food, Amish families have quietly preserved vegetables for centuries, without freezers, jars, or electricity. Their secret? 5 timeless techniques so effective that even after a long winter, a carrot pulled from storage tastes as fresh as the day it was picked. These aren't just survival skills. They're a kind of forgotten wisdom that could rescue your harvest when modern systems fail. In Amish communities, food preservation isn't a chore. It's a seasonal tradition passed down through generations. They follow a preservation calendar aligned with nature's rhythms, beginning as early as January, with family planning sessions around a worn almanac. These gatherings are about more than planting. It's about creating a food supply that lasts all year, processed in small, manageable batches. There's an old Amish saying, "Plant by the moon, preserve by the need." Many Amish gardeners believe root crops grow best under a waning moon, while leafy greens thrive in the waxing moon. Those same cycles guide when to preserve the harvest. Bird songs, insect patterns, and the shift in wind all whisper clues, signs telling them when to gather strawberries or hang herbs to dry. Each season brings a new focus. In spring, greens are dried. Summer is for fermenting cucumbers and preserving berries. Fall is dedicated to root vegetables, and winter becomes a time of rest, planning, and enjoying the stored bounty. They don't preserve just by tradition. They do so with precision. Herbs aren't dried until humidity drops below 60%. Onions wait for 3 dry days before being pulled and stored. Efficiency is everything. Take sweet corn. Once it ripens, an entire day might be spent picking, drying, and processing every part, kernels, husks, and all. Summer's humidity favors quick fermentation. Autumn's dry air is perfect for dehydration. And winter's cold? That becomes nature's refrigerator. What's truly beautiful is how the Amish preserve as a community. If one family's apple tree overproduces, neighbors help pick and process it, knowing their cabbage harvest will receive the same help in return. This shared rhythm of generosity strengthens the whole village. And when nature gets extra generous, producing unexpected bumper crops, the Amish don't panic, they celebrate. With no space to waste food, they activate age-old systems of sharing and quick preservation. First baskets go to elders, then it's all hands on deck, sometimes before dawn, to process beans, brine cucumbers, or salt down whatever won't last another day. For root vegetables like potatoes and carrots, root cellars become winter's pantry. These underground storage rooms stay just above freezing, using nothing but Earth's natural insulation. One cellar can hold 1,000 pounds of potatoes, enough to feed a family for the entire year. When a harvest overwhelms even those stores, the Amish gather for work frolics, community events that turn labor into celebration. In a single afternoon, neighbors might shuck 100 bushels of corn together, sharing laughs, stories, and even the occasional spark of young romance in the rustle of husks. These practices have endured not just because they work, but because they bring people together. In a world chasing convenience, the Amish show us that slowing down and working with nature might be the most powerful preservation method of all. When the harvest is unexpectedly generous, the Amish don't panic. They get to work. A sudden bounty of apples? No problem. Sliced thin and strung above a wood stove, they can be dried and ready in just 24 hours, lasting up to 5 years. Families might stay up late into the night tending the drying racks, knowing every slice saved is food security for months ahead. In Amish life, nothing is wasted. While commercial farms sometimes let crops rot when prices drop, the Amish transform every surplus into something useful. Sauces, dried goods, cider, even gifts. One crop, many uses. Even weather shifts are met with flexibility. If it's too damp for drying, fermentation or cold storage takes its place. This isn't just tradition, it's generational wisdom in action. Children learn by doing, side by side with parents and grandparents. When there's too much to eat, it's not a problem. It's a chance to strengthen community bonds. And long before refrigeration was common, the Amish already had it figured out. Herbs are another quiet hero in Amish kitchens. More than just flavor, they're natural preservatives. Thyme fights bacteria. Rosemary slows spoilage. Sage keeps enzymes in check. In every garden, herbs are carefully paired to boost each other's strength and keep pests at bay. No chemicals needed. Instead of machines, the Amish air-dry herbs slowly, preserving their oils and potency. Dried herbs become powerful tools, infused vinegars, protective oils, and herbal salts that flavor food while extending its life. Even garlic oil can delay mold on bread for days. Timing matters too. Herbs picked in the cool morning hold more of their essential oils, a detail passed down through observation, not textbooks. You'll rarely find recipes written down. Knowledge is handed over from one generation to the next, quietly, skillfully. Some of the most ingenious preservation tools grow wild. Take grape leaves, full of natural tannins and waxy surfaces that block moisture and fight bacteria. Wrapped around cheese, they can triple its shelf life. The best leaves are picked under the June full moon, when they're tender and strong. One healthy vine? It can provide hundreds of leaves, nature's original food wrap. Perfecting the Amish art of food wrapping takes time and practice. Different foods require different folding styles. Soft cheeses might be tucked into 5 or more overlapping grape leaves, creating a snug, moisture-proof wrap. For smaller vegetables like baby potatoes, 1 leaf is enough, as long as the bitter stem is removed. Meats? They're given extra layers, slowing spoilage while adding delicate flavor. Temperature matters too. When stored between 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, grape leaf-wrapped cheese doesn't just last. It develops rich, complex flavors you'll never find in plastic. These wraps create a tiny ecosystem where good bacteria thrive and bad ones can't. The flavor even reflects the land where the grape leaves grew. It's preservation and terroir, Amish style. Wild grape leaves packed with tannins are especially effective, though a bit bitter, so Amish families often mix them with softer, cultivated ones. Wild on the outside for protection, tame on the inside for taste. Unlike plastic, grape leaves breathe. That breathability allows beneficial microorganisms to flourish while blocking the harmful ones, a living, natural preservation chamber. Other leaves step in throughout the seasons. Early spring dandelion leaves help wrap butter. Blackberry leaves shine in midsummer. And when fall comes, grape leaves reign supreme for their strength and flexibility. These seasonal rhythms show just how deeply the Amish understand nature's cycles. Across communities from Pennsylvania to Indiana, the wrapping methods are nearly identical, unchanged over centuries. Archaeological finds show similar techniques used in ancient Europe, making grape leaf wrapping one of the oldest food preservation traditions still practiced today. Not all grape leaves are equal. The best ones grow in partial shade, darker in color, and richer in tannins. Skilled gatherers know just by looking, and grape leaves aren't just for wrapping. When dried and crushed, they can be layered between stored root vegetables like potatoes, helping to prevent sprouting, naturally. And then, there's alcohol. While many assume the Amish shun it entirely, the reality is more nuanced. Alcohol isn't for indulgence, it's a tool. A saying goes, the fruit tells us what it wants to become. Sometimes that means brandy, cider, or wine, all used to preserve food, not for drinking. As fruit ferments, it creates ethanol, a natural bacteria killer. Once a liquid reaches about 14% alcohol, it becomes nearly immune to spoilage. For centuries, this made alcohol a vital preservation method, long before canning came along. In Amish kitchens, peaches, cherries, pears, and berries, too delicate to store any other way, are turned into fruit brandies. A jar of cherries soaked in homemade cherry brandy can stay good for up to 3 years. Families often use wild yeasts that live on fruit skins, or even yeast cultures passed down for generations, giving each batch its own signature flavor. Cider plays a dual role. Fresh, it lasts a few days, but once it ferments into hard cider, its life stretches to months. With more time and skill, it becomes apple brandy, strong enough to preserve fruit and medicinal herbs for years. That's right, herbs too. Alcohol helps preserve their healing power. Instead of drying them and losing potency, Amish families create tinctures, herbal extracts preserved in 25 to 35% alcohol. These little bottles can last for years. The preservation process is precise. Alcohol jars are sealed tight in glass and stored in cool, dark places to prevent evaporation and maintain potency. Summer berries, with their high water content, need stronger alcohol, up to 30%. Denser autumn fruits like apples can be preserved with just 15 to 20%. The Amish aim for just enough alcohol to prevent spoilage while keeping the fruit's natural flavor. Each region specializes based on what's available. Berry-rich areas develop alcohol techniques for fragile fruit. Apple-growing regions focus on cider-based methods. This harmony with local abundance ensures nothing goes to waste. And in Amish life, alcohol isn't recreation, it's respect. These preserved foods are treasured resources, not indulgences. A far cry from modern cultures split between alcohol as pleasure and food as function. One friend joked, "Sounds like the Amish really know how to keep their spirits up through winter." But behind the humor is truth. These time-tested techniques are more than clever. They're a living legacy. A reminder that real sustainability isn't high-tech. It's knowing how to work with nature, not against it. Imagine storing protein-rich food for decades, without a fridge. In Amish homes, dried beans do just that. Humble pinto, black, and navy beans, when dried and sealed in jars or buckets, can last 10, even 20 years. Paired with grains, they become a complete protein source, fueling Amish families through long winters. In their kitchens, beans turn into hearty soups and stews, cooked slowly but stored simply. Then there are nuts from the forest floor, acorns, black walnuts, hickory nuts. High in fat and energy, they're nature's survival food. Amish families dry and store them unshelled in airy barns, keeping the kernels safe inside their natural armor. Nothing goes to waste, not even the shells, which become fuel or meat smoking material. Dried apples are another time-tested staple. Sliced into rings and sun-dried on screens, they become chewy, sweet snacks that can last years. Amish families often build their own solar dryers, no electricity needed. In winter, these apples bring a taste of autumn back into the home. For meat preservation, salt and smoke do the job. Cuts of pork are rubbed with salt, sugar, and spices, then smoked over hardwood fires. No chemicals, just patience. The result? Hams and bacon that stay good for months without a freezer. Rendered fat becomes lard or tallow, used for cooking, soap making, and even candles. Even mushrooms have a place in Amish storage. Wild morels and chanterelles are dried near wood stoves, then stored in jars. Just a handful can flavor an entire pot of soup. Some are even used in traditional teas for immune support. And then there's hardtack, the simplest survival bread. Just flour, water, salt. Baked dry and stored right, it can last for decades. It's tough, but softened in broth or milk, it becomes a dependable, lasting source of calories. In an age of instant everything, the Amish remind us, food doesn't need to be fast, frozen, or canned. It just needs care, knowledge, and patience. Sweet survival. Sorghum syrup. In the heart of Amish country, sweet survival sometimes comes in the form of syrup. Specifically, sorghum syrup. It's a natural sweetener with a nearly endless shelf life, packed not only with flavor, but also vital nutrients. While refined sugar offers little more than empty calories, sorghum syrup provides calcium, potassium, and iron. exactly what's needed to endure long, hard winters. The process begins in the fields, where tall sorghum stalks are harvested at peak ripeness. Amish farmers, often using horse-powered presses, extract the juice by hand. The green liquid is then cooked down slowly in wide pans. It's a delicate process. Too much heat, and the syrup turns bitter. Too little, and it can ferment. What emerges is a mineral-rich syrup that doesn't crystallize, doesn't spoil, and doesn't need refrigeration. Stored in glass jars, it's a time-honored treasure. In Amish kitchens, sorghum isn't just for sweetening. It's the heart of shul pies, cookies, hot cereals, and breakfast breads. Some communities even celebrate sorghum pressings as festive gatherings, turning harvest into tradition. One farmer even joked his sorghum is so good it could sweeten the bitterness of tax season, though he admits that theory remains untested. Nature's pharmacy, dried herbal teas. When winter brings sniffles and sore throats, the Amish don't head to a drugstore, they head to their pantry. Long before cold and flu season hits, families harvest medicinal herbs at their peak. Timing is everything. Blooms must be picked just as they open, leaves before flowering, and always in the morning, after dew dries, but before the day heats up. The herbs are gently dried, often hung in warm, airy spaces out of direct sunlight. Some families cover them with perforated paper bags to protect from dust while letting moisture escape. Stored in brown glass jars or paper bags, these dried plants retain their potency for years. Each herb has a purpose. Mint calms an upset stomach. Chamomile soothes nerves and invites restful sleep. Thyme supports respiratory health. It's practical, natural health care, especially important when the nearest clinic may be miles away. Winter greens, sprouted seeds. Even in the dead of winter, Amish families enjoy fresh greens, not from a greenhouse, but from a kitchen counter. Sprouting is the age-old practice of transforming dry seeds into living food, and it's almost magical in its simplicity. With no soil or sunlight needed, just a spoonful of seeds becomes a cupful of vibrant sprouts in under a week. During germination, seeds unleash a burst of nutrition. Some increase their vitamin C levels by up to 600%. It's no wonder Amish elders say sprouted seeds have more life in them than teenagers at a singing. Popular choices include alfalfa, clover, mung beans, and broccoli. The process is simple: rinse, soak, and keep moist. The dormant seeds stay viable for up to 5 years, making them an efficient, space-saving source of fresh food when everything else is frozen over. Tiny but mighty, mustard seeds. At first glance, mustard seeds may seem like just another spice. But in Amish life, they're a secret weapon. These tiny seeds are natural preservatives, packed with compounds that stop bacterial growth. No refrigeration needed. Properly stored in glass jars away from light, they keep their potency for years. Nutritionally, mustard seeds are impressive. They contain omega-3s, selenium, and magnesium, powerful allies for heart and immune health. And they're more than medicine. Ground mustard is used in chest poultices for winter congestion, and in the kitchen, it adds punch to pickles, dressings, and sauces. Whether whole, powdered, or paste, mustard endures and elevates whatever it touches. The dark gold, molasses. Molasses is thick, dark, and rich, sweet, but not just sugar. It's the final product of boiling sugarcane juice, and by the time it becomes blackstrap molasses, it's shed most of its sugar and kept most of its minerals. Just 1 tablespoon delivers nearly 20% of your daily iron, perfect for months when fresh food is scarce. Unlike honey, molasses never crystallizes. It sits in a jar, ready year after year, untouched by time or bacteria. In Amish kitchens, molasses goes far beyond cookies and gingerbread. It deepens baked beans, enriches barbecue sauce, and perfumes holiday meals with earthy, comforting aromas. For some, A spoonful of molasses is more than a treat. It is the medicine. The eternal grain. White rice has fed empires, and for good reason. In Amish communities, white rice is a long-term survival staple. Its secret? Simplicity. Unlike brown rice, which contains oils that spoil over time, white rice has had those layers removed, making it nearly inert. Stored in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers, white rice lasts 25 to 30 years. That's not food storage, it's generational security. In lean times, rice becomes a blank canvas for whatever the family has on hand. Preserved meats, garden vegetables, even broth. It cooks easily, fills bellies, and works for all ages. The morning comfort, rolled oats. In Amish homes, the day often begins with a bubbling pot of oats, but oatmeal is more than a breakfast. It's a foundational food. Rolled oats are steamed and flattened to inactivate spoilage enzymes, making them shelf-stable for up to 5 years. Stored properly, they last well beyond supermarket expiration dates. Oats are high in fiber, B vitamins and protein, slow-burning fuel for long days of physical labor. They also stretch meals, thicken stews, and fill desserts. One Amish miller once said, "Oats are like people. They last longer after a little pressure." Forever fresh, white vinegar. White vinegar might seem like just a pungent kitchen staple, but in the Amish pantry, it's eternal. With 5% acetic acid, it creates an environment where bacteria and fungi simply can't survive, making it both a powerful preservative and self-preserving. It doesn't spoil, it doesn't degrade, and it's useful for far more than pickles. Vinegar cleans, preserves, and even treats mild ailments. In a world chasing expiration dates, vinegar calmly waits, unchanged and ready.